your boy, Megalodon J. And I'd like to introduce you to two great friends of mine, Scott Logan. Say what's up.
What's up?
And my buddy Ryan Stevens. Say what's up.
What's up, folks? What's up, folks?
We wanted to get with you guys on some subjects I think that has really been a thorn in everybody's side. So today, what we want to talk about is COVID-19, the coronavirus. Scott, how do you feel about that coronavirus, man? Are you wearing your mask?
Not right now. No, I've actually relaxed on that. I when I have my mask on, I don't know. It's different. I've mixed feelings about the mask situation. I mean, I'm curious how you guys feel about the mask. I mean, are you wearing your mask?
Oh, Ryan just pulled the mask out. Hold on.
There it is.
Hey, there you go, bro. Look, I've read. I mean, we're probably pushing 500 articles now on COVID since February. I was sounding the alarms about COVID way before the USA shut it down in March because we knew there was asymptomatic spread in late January. And so I was a pretty big proponent of masks early on. Given everything we know now, much less so. I think the science is pretty clear that if everybody is adhering to wearing a mask, they're helpful, but the likelihood of everybody adhering to it is not really high. I also think it's absolutely patently absurd to wear a mask, outside or driving in your vehicle by yourself. Or I think, if you're going to go sit in a religious service with a bunch of people in close quarters, wear your mask. Otherwise, I'm not a big mask fan.
I talked to some people. Interesting, you brought up church. Pastor and Brian, he told me that he doesn't require masks or anything. And he said, hey, if you feel like you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. If you don't have to. And, if you're at risk, feel free to stay home and watch it on live stream, or, we can section off an area in the church for you. I thought it was very interesting, and they kind of left it up to the individual to decide how they want to, choose.
I mean, I wear my mask, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's become a thing like my car keys. So when I grab my car keys, I grab my mask. They're very stylish, but I would be lying to you guys if I told you that I felt like it was necessary for me to wear the mask everywhere except for the shower. Just saying.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way. I wear it everywhere I go in public where I'm going to be around other people. I mean, obviously the exception is it's kind of silly to wear it in a restaurant and then sit down and immediately take it off. Hopefully they have the table socially distanced. But I just saw the government of California came out with a recommendation that you need to put it back on between bites, which is kind of one of the most, Gavin Newsom's mucking things up left and right out there, but that's one of the most absurd things I've ever seen. And I mean, if the CDC and the U.S. Surgeons General and WHO can't get this right, then how is the average American supposed to get it right? And I think there's something to be said for that as well.
Yeah, I mean, how do you trust, after you hear one narrative or one perspective for so long, and then it completely switches to the opposite side, wear your mask, because Fauci was on record saying early on in coronavirus that it's silly to wear a mask, and it has little to no health benefit, and it's more of a feeling. You feel comfortable, you feel secure, and he's on record saying it, and now he's like completely opposite, and everyone's like, listen to Fauci, trust Fauci, and like, oh, okay. I mean, which side do we trust? Does he actually know what he's talking about now, or it's so? How do you trust what's being pushed to you? You know what I mean?
Well, and I want to be a little careful because, and James, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I want to be a little careful too, because I actually appreciate people that are willing to change their mind in the face of new evidence.
1,000%.
So if you say, like, I hate the whole, like, I gotcha game, because like, if you get new evidence and the new evidence dictates that now this is the right thing to do, then you should change your mind. That's the way to be right more often. But yeah, at the same time, I just think the whole mask thing has become really polarized, and the data is very, conservatives are less likely to wear them unless they're in large crowds, whereas, Democrats seem to wear them all the time. And so I think it's just become a polarized thing where both sides are kind of listening to their side's propaganda and adhering to that and not necessarily thinking for themselves.
What do
So
you think
how
of
do you guys feel about the vaccine? Because they're testing out some things, and would y'all be more likely to want to try the vaccine for the coronavirus, or well, how would y'all feel about that? Go
Go
ahead,
ahead,
Scott.
Scott.
I'm not taking it. I don't care. I'm serious. Like I've had it. So I had coronavirus. It really wasn't as bad for me. So kind of rewind. So whenever in March, we started hearing all these things about it, and it was, if you caught it, made it seem like you were gonna die. That was, I guess, the prevailing feeling around the coronavirus, and so it kind of freaked me out. So I was like, because I've had pneumonia 3 times in my life, and I'm like, okay, I got bad lungs. I have an all right immune system, but I'm not as healthy as I should be. I'm not eating my greens. I'm not, I have no cardio conditioning. So it freaked me out, and I started running, and I feel like Forrest Gump, and I just kept running. And, and so I'm running, training for a half marathon, debating on whether it should be a marathon, but I put out 9 miles with my wife yesterday morning, and it was brutal. Yeah. Not longest I ever ran. So I was pretty stoked about that. But needless to say, I dropped 35 pounds, started taking care of my body, started reading up a little bit on my immune system and how to get it to work for me naturally without having to, inject anything into my body, and, greens and cardio. And so I'm like, if I can fight this off, so when I had it, it didn't really have any I didn't have any symptoms. The only symptoms I had was loss of taste and smell. And since I work with the public, I was like, okay, I need to be diligent. I need to get tested and find out if I have it. Came out positive. And so I stayed home, quarantined. Again, I had no symptoms whatsoever. I was dehydrated one day because I stayed in bed. And the other days I was out running when I had it. So I was off by myself running. I ran a mile a couple of times. I was out cutting the grass. I was tinkering around in my garage, and I was staying hydrated, and I had no symptoms. The only symptoms I was depressed because I was stuck in my room while my family was in the other rooms, like carrying on without me. That was the worst part of it for me. But the day I did stay in bed the whole day, I had the worst symptoms because I wasn't staying hydrated. I was laying in bed watching TV, not eating greens, not moving around, not functioning. That was the worst day of the whole coronavirus. But so I think it took me 5 days to actually get through it. And it was on the 5th day, I felt like, man, I woke up feeling alert. I had a lot more energy, it felt like. And so I went and got tested, came back negative. If coronavirus wasn't a thing, I probably never would have missed work. So that was my experience with it. And I know it's not everyone's experience, but I mean, I found that if you use what God is put on this earth, as natural type substances, man, and vitamin D was another thing I feel like was very important. Getting out in the sun, it's so important. I've realized that I feel so much better when I get sunlight. So all of that kind of combined with some zinc and what else did I have? Zinc and my wife was mixing all kinds of concoctions of greenery, and it was it was good stuff. She helped me out really.
So Ryan, was Scott saying that like how do you feel about the coronavirus, how they make it a death sentence now if you catch it, because clearly he's a survivor, and he just stayed away for a little while. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, look, he's a survivor like the very vast majority of people that get this. The data is very conclusive that if you are under 70 years old and you do not have comorbidities, this may feel a lot like the flu. You may not even know that you haven't, for that matter. I think that the data still out there on what some lasting effects might be for this. So it's like, I'm not signing up to go get this, right? I haven't had it as far as I know. I'm not going to like go to a party where someone has it to try to contract it and get the antibodies. I'm not going to do that.
Party for you?
No COVID party for me. I'm not signing up to get it, but I'm also not fearful of it. One of the things that, Did the United States do a good job with this? Nah, we did some things okay and others not as well. And I think it would be disingenuous to say we did a really good job with it. I mean, it would be insensitive too, knowing that we have 215,000 deaths or so now. But a lot of big mistakes we made were like sending sick people back into nursing homes. That was devastating to places like New York City. And I think the other thing that's not talked about, because people vilify you for talking about it, is in the United States, we are not very healthy. What we know about this virus is it attacks people that are obese much, much worse. Chris Christie is having a lot of problems with the coronavirus right now. He's a very big, heavy-set guy. We have very, very poor healthcare. We have 70+% of people are overweight or obese. So, I think therein lies a big problem as well when it comes to the coronavirus.
So Scott, let me ask you this, because Ryan, I absolutely agree with that, like 100%. Like, so Scott, when he gets to talking about us being healthy, and you said that you had some lifestyle changes. How do you feel when people come to you and they talk about the coronavirus and they said this is the new normal, with the masks and the staying away from people? How does that make you feel?
Sad, because I think a lot of it is people are living in fear, and it's okay to be afraid of something or something, be cautious towards something, but I think a lot of times when we're afraid of something so much, we let it dictate our life and our trajectory. So yes, coronavirus is real. Yes, you can get sick from it. Yes, there's different levels of illness to it. There are also other sicknesses that are going around that, I've had pneumonia 3 times. And so I was susceptible to that. Like, I could walk outside and get hit by a car, and and things could just like that. When it's your time, it's your time. And so I've seen a lot of people just, living in fear. And it kind of, it's kind of worrisome, because you can control people with fear. And as you can see, I feel like the media is literally really playing into the fear of, just look at who they vilify. If you're wearing a mask, if you're not wearing a mask. And I think it's silly too. You're watching ESPN when these reporters have these face masks and they're just talking in a microphone. There's nobody around. And as soon as the camera's off, they're going to take it off and they're going to be around the people they were, it's silly. It's theatrical. And I think there's a lot of things that people aren't calling a spade a spade. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And I saw, so when the NBA, they have their benches all like spread out like that, and they're all kind of social distance. And then you see them like they celebrate in the locker room or something. They're all over each other, hugging each other. And like, it's just like, really, come on, can we drop the act now? Like, let people live. It's like they still want us to really think that this is the new normal. Like, I don't feel that way. I don't feel like it should be. And I feel like they're pushing this mindset on the country of like, hey, this is the new normal. It's like, dude, as soon as the cameras are off, people are loving on each other and hugging each other and not dying. It's
well, and I think to your point, I think it's really important that we protect the vulnerable. I don't want anybody that might have the sniffles around my grandfather who's 91 years old, right? But I think I read the other day there's been 37,000 cases on college campuses, and of those 37,000, there have only been 2 hospitalizations. Yep. So that's one of the things that's really interesting to me, because right now they want us to get scared again because the case count's going up. But in Florida, the case count went up and everybody's like, oh, we got to shut it back down. Well, it was healthier people that had gone on with their lives that were getting it, and the hospitalizations did not spike like the case counts did. So It goes to show that there's a percentage of people that, look, again, not that you want to get COVID or that you're advocating for that, but let's protect the vulnerable and let's let the people that are healthy and fit go back to their lives.